it's Rockin' Robbie Billups, and it's time for Robbie Rants. In fact, it's time for the first episode of the brand new weekly comic book review. Alright gang, that's right, this week's comics, and we start with the pick of the week. The Vision. Generation Gone was really cool, interesting, and very refreshing. This is basically Batman, God of War, or as I like to call him, Wonder Wayne. Dan Slott did this huge, crazy arc taking Peter back and forth, up and down over the last, 10 years? So it's nice to get a fresh voice on the character. New What If, I think this is the final of this current batch of What If books. It's What If Magic has become the Sorcerer Supreme, and this was probably the best one out of all of them. Fantastic work, a great conclusion. You guys just knocked this out of the park. You nailed the ending. You nailed that landing. You totally sold it. I love this book so much. I cannot wait to read it over and over and over for times to come. Now, let's jump over to Marvel. X-Men #1. That's right. It's the dawn of X. It's the show where I read a lot of comic books, and I'll let you know what I thought about them, and we always start with the pick of the week. But before we do that, let's address the elephant in the room. This is going to be the last weekly comic book review for the foreseeable future. I started doing these back in October of 2016. I have not missed a week yet, so it really sucks that I won't be able to do it next week, and that's because Diamond Comics has stopped distributing new print comics to comic shops. Not a lot of comic books today. In fact, no comic books available in print today. Diamond distribution is shut down. Comic shops are closed down for the most part. There are no new comics out, except for online. So I checked out Comixology to see what few offerings there were, and they are very few, but I found some really good ones I want to point out, including the pick of the week. And last week we had Diamond returning. This week we have Marvel Comics returning. So we finally have a proper stack of comic books, and it delivers a very personal, nuanced, tragic, and human tale. Let's jump over to DC Comics. We got Dark Knight's Death Metal issue #4, shiny foil cover. For me, this was by far the best issue of this. If you're a fan of Rom V, especially Rom V's indie work, I would highly encourage you to check this out. Anand Arcade was the artist along with Rom on the writing on books such as Graffiti's Wall and of course Blue and Green, which was one of my favorite comic book of the last few years. Radio Spaceman Mission to Numa 4 issue #2, the final part of this 2-issue series to introduce the world to this new character, Radio Spaceman from Mike Mignola. In the first issue, they lay all that groundwork. And in the second issue, one of those soldiers has become a cartoonist who is most popular for doing a strip called Junkyard Joe, which is based on this robotic hero that he had from his war experience. It gets a little talky, some talking head moments, but then there are moments where the art just absolutely shines. I can't show you many of those scenes because they happen at the end. And I don't want them to lose the impact when you read this story. I really liked it. I thought the artwork was great. The coloring provides an atmosphere and a mood. And Aditya Bidikar on the lettering, he's just one of the best letterers in the biz and probably will be of all time because he is that freaking impressive and his work is that much a part of the book. Honestly, I've never liked Spider-Man 2099 except for an issue of What The, where they introduced Spider-Ham 2099, and probably just because I thought it was really clever that his name is Pigel O'Hara, or O'Hara. Yeah, I don't think I like this. I'm not going to keep reading this book. It's kind of got the color palette of, I don't know, something noirish, but it's also very kinetic, dynamic when it needs to be. It is a very solid detective story. It is a Batman Elseworlds type tale, so it's not set in any continuity. It is its own vision of Gotham, of Batman, of Gordon. It introduces a new villain, which is absolutely fascinating to me. The look of this book is absolutely striking. It is masterful. It is just downright masterful. The story is good. The story is solid. The story is very serviceable. But that artwork, oh my goodness, there is nothing like it in shops this week. There hasn't been anything like it in a while. Well, maybe. That's hyperbolic. It's an unsettling book. It's an unnerving book. But it's an enjoyable book. It's an innovative book. It's absolutely fantastic. Ice Cream Man is the best comic book ongoing series, period, and has been for a long time now. And I've been praising this book for so long, and I know a lot of y'all have gotten into this book because of our thoughts here on the channel or other comic book reviewers or just people spreading the word of mouth, and now you are spreading the word of mouth, and the cult of the Ice Cream Man has continued to grow and widen. Doug Ramsey was named The Heir of Apocalypse Revelation. This whole book is just basically him struggling with that. Talking to Warlock, talking to Bay, having dinner, chit-chatting, so people show up. It wasn't that great. It wasn't that great. I guess it's setting up. I guess Doug and his crew are coming into the pages of Jed McKay's X-Men. I mean, obviously, it literally just happened here in issue number 19. So I guess it's set up for what's to come. It was interesting enough, but for the most part, didn't really do much for me. Thank you guys so much, and please do join us at popculturephilosophers.com for podcast, blogs, top 5 lists, and a whole lot more. Like I said, please subscribe, click that thumbs up button. We'll catch you next time. Peace out. What's up, everybody? Welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin' Robbie Bills, and it's time for the 9th anniversary Collector's Edition live stream of the weekly comic book review. All right, what's up, everybody? Sorry if you were here for the initial struggle stream where we had no audio, but we got it fixed. Here we are to deliver the weekly comic book review. It's October 7th as I record this, as I stream this live to you. This is for the books of October 8th. It was a year ago yesterday, or it was 9 years ago yesterday, that we debuted the weekly comic book review. So what I like to do ever since year 5, I like to go live on this date to deliver the review live as well as just chat with you for a little bit afterwards. So that's the plan tonight. We're about to deliver the weekly comic book review, and we got a huge stack of comics to talk about. That's what we'll be talking about tonight. And then right after, we'll take a quick break, and then we're going to just chat for a little bit, so stick around. But if you're just here for the weekly comic book review, don't worry, it's not any longer than usual, but we will be going live a little bit longer than the usual length of the weekly comic book review. That being said, let me just get this out of the way. First of all, thank you so much for supporting this show, for supporting this channel. We are celebrating 10 years of PCP this year in 2025. PCP started in 2015. However, it wasn't until October 2016 when the weekly comic book review started, and we've done it every single week for 9 years solid. Even when Diamond decided that they weren't going to distribute comics, I found a way to get it done every single week. So here we are, and we're 1 year away from the 10th anniversary. All right. So we're doing this live. We're going to do the whole thing live. And afterwards, we're going to do a little bit of chat, a little bit of Q&A until Fable starts his Horror Fest show at 8 p.m. Central Time. So we got a little bit over an hour. We'll see what happens there. But let me just let you know this. The weekly comic book review is the show. It's our flagship show. It's the show that gets us the most revenue on YouTube, if that makes sense, right? We keep the lights on in the studio. We survive, basically, as pop culture philosophers because of YouTube ad revenue and your generosity in the chat. So, since we're going live, YouTube doesn't like to promote the live streams as much as they do the regular stream. And some people may miss out on this. So let all of your friends know that Robbie went live for the weekly comic book review. And if you want to drop a super chat, if you want to support the channel, this is the perfect time to do it. Super chats are more than welcome. Super thanks are more than welcome. Tips directly to my YouTube or my Cash App or to my Patreon, or yeah, we're on Patreon, patreon.com/PCP. We're on PayPal, contact 420@gmail.com. I'm on Cash App, $ Robbie Bills, ROBBIE BILLZ. So there you go. All right. That being said, all we need to support is you being here, watching the show, liking, subscribing, sharing. The most important thing is let everybody know that the show was live. YouTube does different things with live videos versus pre-recorded videos, whatever. I am Rockin' Robbie Billups, and we are celebrating 9 years of the weekly comic book review. That's right, 9 years ago, pretty much this day, yesterday, I started doing the weekly comic book review. We've never stopped, And we always start with a pick of the week, and this week's pick of the week, High Strangeness, issue number 1 from Oni Press. Now, this is written by Daniel Noah and Chris Condon with artwork by Dave Chisholm, lettered by Becca Carey. I loved this book. This is a Rockin' Robbie book for sure. It's like this book was made for me. So what is High Strangeness? High Strangeness is an Oni Press independent comic book that is co-written by somebody who has a lot of experience, I think, with the paranormal. And then Jim Perry has an essay at the end here who runs a podcast. So anyway, book 1 is set in 1967. This is basically the story of a journalist who decides that the paranormal is worth investigating. It's a John Keel type situation. This is I think it's totally appropriate that on the 9th anniversary of the weekly comic book review, the pick of the week is a Teen Dog Shades type book. This book is about a reporter. He's a journalist, and he winds up going on this mission. He doesn't really believe in it. He's wanting to report on something serious, something real, but his newspaper, or the magazine that he works for, wants him to go and investigate a series of like UFO sightings or abductions and shit like that. And he doesn't feel like there's much to it, but then the book shows us that there's a lot more to it. So this is the story of a journalist who is understanding that there is true high strangeness that exists out there in the world. And his job is to not just now report on it, but also to kind of experience it. Like I said, it's based a lot on the work and life of John Keel. I'm a big fan of his. Most people will know him as the writer of the Mothman prophecies. I would recommend Operation Trojan Horse. And then at the end of the book, we got Jim Perry doing this excellent essay on how all of these different ideas, all these different themes kind of pull themselves together into one overall theory of everything. And I am currently working on a show. If we got any blue wrenches out there, please share a link to HSV Para, which is the HSV Paranormal Signal and Noise is the name of the show we're doing. First episode just released about a month ago. There's more on the way. If you read this book and you read the essay at the back, you will understand a whole lot about what I think about the paranormal, what I think about reality, what I think about life. Like, seriously, this book was written for me. It was like Taylor specifically made for Rockin' Robbie. Talk about synchronicity. I don't know Chris Condon. I don't know Daniel Noah. I don't know Dave Chisholm. And I don't know Becca Carey. I don't know Jim Perry. I don't know any of these people. But they have somehow wound up making the perfect comic book for Rockin' Robbie for me to pick for the pick of the week here on the 9th anniversary stream. That's super freaking cool. So your pick of the week is High Strangeness. It's great. It is an $8 comic book, but trust me, it is worth it. I love the art. I love the story. I love the context. I love the essay. I love everything about that book. Let's jump over to DC where we got DCKO issue number 1. Cool acetate cover right there. That's neat. This is written by Scott Snyder with artwork by Javier Fernandez, Alejandro Sanchez on the art. What is this book? This is DC's big event of the fall, right? Because everybody wants to do big events in the fall because historically retail is a little bit lower in the fall and especially in October and November, right before the Christmas season. So it's nice that the comic book companies give us these big, giant events and big stories. You know, a year ago, Absolute Batman #1 debuted in October. 2 years ago, Transformers #1 debuted in October. So, of course, this week, we've got Absolute Batman and Transformers. We're going to get into it. DCKO. So this has been everything that's been going on in the DC universe since the All-In one-shot special. Josh Williamson, Scott Snyder, and a few others, they've basically been crafting a journey for the DC universe to get to this point. This directly follows up events of Superman, directly follows up events of Justice League Unlimited, it directly follows up events of every single DC book that's out there, pretty much, for the last year. So Darkseid is back. We know that Darkseid has crafted and started the absolute universe. The reason for that is given more fully here in this issue. And then also at the same time, it's setting up this really interesting battle. So first of all, let me just tell you what I think about the book. I think the book is kind of dumb, but the book is also kind of fun. I have read this book 3 times. And the first time I read it, I thought it was dumb as shit. The second time I read it, I really liked it. And the third time I liked it, I loved it. Or the third time I read it, I loved it. So I like DCKO. It's basically a tournament of the DC universe. And whoever wins this tournament becomes King Omega. So they find out that Darkseid is definitely overpowered with Omega energy from his infusion into the creation of the absolute universe. And to combat that, the DC universe has to formulate a tournament with all these different heroes and villains together to fight. And the winner of that will be crowned King Omega. That's what the KO means. It doesn't mean knockout, but it has a double meaning because Scott Snyder is slightly clever. So that being said, that's what's going on. Superman and others are in the midst of this fight to the death to figure out who the King Omega of the DC universe is going to be to defeat Darkseid. The story is really out there, and it takes a lot to really want us to give up our prejudices and our thoughts and insightfulness about this and insightful feelings about this book because it's so dumb as far as its plot, but the art is great. The scale, the epic scope and scale is absolutely amazing. And altogether, I liked the book. I thought it was good, but it's not going to be for everybody. But I would recommend reading it at least twice. Also, there's a blind bag version of this. I don't get on the blind bag hype, but this is the 9th anniversary of the weekly comic book review. So I will open this at the end of the show. Another thing I want to point out, we got comments in the chat. I will address all the comments as soon as we wrap up here. All right, then we got Absolute Batman issue number 13, the first full appearance of Absolute Catwoman. This book is super hot because of it. People are really wanting it. We got great variant covers from people like Art Germ, Jenny Frizen, and more. But, of course, I get the cover A by Nick Dragotta. Nick Dragotta is back here on the artwork. I love it. Absolute Batman has become one of my favorite comic books at DC, and this was a great introduction to the absolute version of Selena Kyle's Catwoman. It also introduces another character, so it's not just about absolute Catwoman. I don't want to spoil it, but I do believe that a lot of people know who else appears here. Really great stuff, and Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta are continuing to make this book a must-read. Scott's really doing a great job of completely reimagining Gotham and Bruce and his entire mythology and the Rogues Gallery, but at the same time, making it very fresh, very relevant, very interesting, and incredibly engaging. And the artwork by Nick Dragotta, absolutely fire. Can I find a page that doesn't spoil anything for you? How about that page right there? We got Bane. That's right. We're still in the Bane story, but the Bane stuff is leading into Bruce's friends becoming his Rogues Gallery. I freaking love it. I freaking love it. I think it's amazing. Absolute Batman number 13 slaps. Get to your shops. Check that out. A lot of people are going to be snatching those up because that's one of those books that a lot of people are going to be snatching up multiple covers, but trust me, you want in on it. Then we got Batman Dark Patterns issue number 11, another fantastic issue of Batman Dark Patterns written by Dan Waters with artwork by Hayden Sherman. The artwork is what makes this book soar so freaking well. The composition, the panel design, the layout. Seriously, Hayden Sherman might be my favorite working artist in comics today. It's like Hayden, Dan Mora, Jorge Jimenez. There's a few other. I could come up with a good top 10, I believe, of artists in comics working today. Hayden
would probably be at the top of that list. The artwork in this book is absolutely fire. And to quote my buddy Stu from Dr. Doom's fan club, everybody should go and sub up to Dr. Doom's fan club. Stu said this book really leans into the high strangeness of 90s Batman, and it does. Weird tales, interesting stories. This is a 12-issue miniseries, maxi series, I guess, that is comprised of 3-issue arcs. And now we are here in the second issue of the final arc, and everything is coming together in absolute perfection. Seriously, that book is so amazing. Then we got Batman Gotham by Gaslight, A League for Justice, issue number 4. This is issue 4. It's actually issue 10 of the sequel to Batman Gotham by Gaslight, which is less of a Batman book and more of a Justice League book. Batman Gotham by Gaslight was a Victorian era Elseworlds tale of Batman fighting Jack the Ripper. This is the official sequel written by Andy Diggle with artwork by Leandro Fernandez. I love the artwork. I love the energy there. The story's been pretty solid. It's introducing the rest of the DC universe, including Superman, Constantine, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter. They're all there exploring and expanding the Elseworlds universe of Batman Gotham by Gaslight. It's all right. It could be more Batman-centric. It's good. I like it, and I liked this issue. I think it's a good, solid comic. If you've been reading it, check it out. If you haven't been reading it, just read the original. Then we got Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, issue number 9, the penultimate issue of this series. Jeff Loeb is writing it. Jeff Loeb, of course, was the writer of Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Catwoman, When in Rome, and Tim Sale was the artist of those books. Unfortunately, Tim Sale passed away a couple of years ago. So Tim Sale does covers here, and I think he was initially intended to be a part of this book. However, it just didn't pan out, obviously. So each issue has been done by a different artist. This one is Chris Samney with our coloring by Dave Stewart. I love seeing Dave Stewart color Chris Samney's artwork. Me and the crew over at the Monthly Comic Book Review have been really high on Chris Samney's work on Batman and Robin Year One. And so, yeah, you're going to see a lot of cool stuff here. As far as the story goes, I really like it. Like, this book's been a little bit up and down for me, but here in the penultimate issue, we only got one more left. It has really cemented itself as being important, especially with the ongoing narrative of Batman's early years, his Rogues Gallery's first appearances, Catwoman's first appearances, and her connection to the Roman. That's right, Carmine Falcone. So really cool stuff here. If you're a fan of Year One, Long Halloween, Dark Victory, definitely continue there. Then we got Superman the Kryptonite Spectrum, issue number 3, the penultimate issue of this series, which is done by the exact same creative team of Ice Cream Man, which I think is one of the absolute best comics out there. DC, somebody at DC, had the bright idea to let them do a Superman book. And that's what this is. It's a DC Black Label. It's not super mature, but it is set outside of continuity. So it's written by W. Maxwell Prince with artwork by Martin Morazzo. We got Chris O'Halloran on the coloring. We got good old Neon on the lettering. The exact same creative team as Ice Cream Man. So Superman's been dealing with these new kryptonites that he has found. He's trying to experiment with them with the help of his best friend Batman to differing degrees of success, one could say. But this version of kryptonite turns Superman into a kid. So he winds up going on a mission and a field trip of sorts with Billy Batson, a.k.a. Shazam. So it's young Clark and young Billy, a.k.a. grown-ass man Shazam, but with the mind of a kid, working together. Lots of subplots pulling itself together. It's weird. It's out there. This is not your typical Superman comic book, and I really appreciate it for that. Then we get Action Comics 1091. This is your typical Superman comic book. It's okay. So Mark Waid, Skylar Patridge are here. The artwork's solid. The story is solid. It's decent. It's Superman basically Year One, right? Or it's Superboy Year One, I should say. So it's when a teenage Clark first discovers his powers. Captain Comet is involved. Captain Comet was definitely involved with Superman in one of the very first comics, if not the very first comic I ever read. I did a special DC in the 80s episode about that. So I like the appearance of Captain Comet. I like the story. I like the art, but it's just kind of okay. And in a week that's stacked and in weeks that are stacked, this is a Superman book that is going to fly under the radar and maybe deservedly so. Then we got Aquaman here with issue number 10. Cool thing about this one, we got John Timms back on the artwork. The artwork is absolutely amazing in this book. It's got a great kinetic, energetic flair to it that really accentuates the gravity of the emotional resonance that the story is trying to perpetrate. However, the story doesn't quite get there for me. I love Jeremy Adams. I think his run on Wally West Flash, which was just like, a year or two ago, was absolutely phenomenal. His Green Lantern work's been solid. His Aquaman work, though, is just kind of okay. This is not the book to turn you into an Aquaman fan. I like how plugged in it is to the DC ongoing narrative. It's nice to have John Timms back here on the artwork, but altogether, Aquaman is just kind of okay. Then we got Green Lantern Corps issue number 9. Speaking of Jeremy Adams, he is co-writing this book with Morgan Hampton. This is the final issue of the 6-part Starbreaker Supremacy, and it's got an okay ending. I think that Jeremy Adams has been doing a good job building up to this story. This story itself, the first half of it was pretty solid, but I think the back half of it was just a little bit weak. And the only reason, it's not because of the art, it's not because necessarily of the idea of the story and what happens and where the characters go, but it just feels structured oddly in the second half of this, that it just kind of loses a lot of steam and a bit of momentum in these last couple of issues in particular. So Green Lantern Corps issue number 9, I'm glad the story is wrapped up. I'm excited to see where we go. It was just kind of all right. Then we've got Court issue number 2. This is The Children of the Round Table. This is a book from Tom Taylor and Danielle Di Nicuolo. I freaking love this book. This book is so much fun. So we know the story of the sword Excalibur, right? Within the sword, or the sword within the rock, right? Arthur has to lift the sword and become the one king of England and all that shit. We know the Arthurian legend. So what if that still applies and there is a sword out there, but that sword is imbued with the spirit of King Arthur, and whoever wields that sword will now be wielding the personality of King Arthur. That's cool. But what if all of the Knights of the Round Table have their own weapon within a sword, and a group of friends, a group of young teenage friends, pull those weapons out of the rock, and they now become endued with the personalities of the Knights of the Round Table. Really fun book, super cool stuff, all ages appropriate. I definitely feel so. I have a lot of fun with that. Let's jump over to Marvel. We got some X-Men Age of Revelation books. So we had the X-Men Age of Revelation one shot, or the Age of Revelation Overture came out last week, and I actually liked it. So let's break this down. What is Age of Revelation in case you don't know? It is the 30th anniversary of the Age of Apocalypse, so Marvel's doing a couple, or maybe more than a couple, of different things to celebrate that. One of the things they're doing is the Age of Revelation. So recently, in the pages of X-Men Comics, there was meant to be an heir of Apocalypse, somebody who's going to take up Apocalypse's journey and mission after he leaves the Earth to go to Araco, aka Mars, right? So that being said, the heir of Apocalypse is Doug Ramsey, aka Douglock, aka Cypher, right? So that's pretty freaking cool. I guess he's only Douglock when Warlock and him are combined. Anyway, Doug Ramsey is now the heir of Apocalypse, and he is named Revelation. So 10 years from the present day. So in the present day, Revelation has joined the X-Men. All of a sudden, Cyclops and Beast, they have their conscious minds put into their bodies 10 years from today. And because Revelation joins the X-Men, he takes over and creates the Age of Revelation. So Scott and Hank are mentally time traveling 10 years into the future to see this world that Doug, becoming the heir of Apocalypse, aka Revelation, the world that brings about, right? Amazing X-Men is the book you need to read if you're following this series. It's written by Jed MacKay, who is the architect of this whole entire story. Mahmoud Asrar is on the artwork. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked the Overture last week. I loved this one as well. I think it's a cool reimagining of the future of the X-Men that adds a little bit of weight to their present day stuff. I have not been the biggest fan of current X-Men titles for a while. However, Jed MacKay's doing a decent job, but this Age of Revelation, I'm just going to tell you, Amazing X-Men #1 was actually a good comic. Now, I've already told you I'm going to read every single Age of Revelation book to let you know what it is. Binary issue #1 also releases this week. This book is not essential. It's basically a placeholder for Phoenix, because just like Age of Apocalypse, we have the idea that all the X books are going to end and become something else temporarily to reflect this new universe, right? Or this new future. Binary is replacing Phoenix, so it's still written by Stephanie Phillips. It's got decent artwork. It's all right. In this world, Phoenix has died. Jean Grey has passed, and she has given the Phoenix power to Carol Danvers. This is the story of Carol Danvers in the Age of Revelation with the Phoenix power, and it was decent. It was good. I liked it. It was interesting. If you're trying to just follow the main thread of Age of Revelation, this is not necessary, but this was good, and I liked it. I thought it was okay. Then we've got X-Men Age of Revelation Long Shots issue #1. This one's written by Jerry Duggan and Jonathan Hickman with artwork by Alan Robinson. Artwork is fine. The book itself was stupid as hell. This was so dumb. So dumb. Even though it's got Hickman's name on it, this was so dumb. Not essential whatsoever. And out of all of the Age of Revelation stuff I've read so far, this is definitely the weakest, right? So Long Shots is about Mojo in this Age of Revelation, where TV, I guess, is banned. So he's trying to come up with a new reality TV show to make himself relevant again. And he assembles a team of long shots. This is a humor book. It's meant to be goofy. It's meant to be funny. It's not meant to be taken seriously. Well, you know what is meant to be taken seriously? Our wallets, our pocketbooks. Does anybody have a pocketbook anymore? Probably not. But our money is meant to be taken seriously, Marvel. And when you put out shit like this, especially with names like Hickman and Duggan, and it's just worthless, throwaway, trivial, trite garbage, that, my friends, is insulting. Then we got Laura Kinney, Sabretooth issue #1, a part of the Age of Revelation. In this new world, in the future of the X-Men, Laura Kinney has become Sabretooth. Why? You find out here. It's got some Dakin in here. It's got some Gabby in here. If you're a big fan of X-23 of Laura Kinney, you might want to check this out, but it has very little to do with the main thread. I really do feel like if you want to keep up with the Age of Revelation and really make it like affordable and still fulfilling, just read the Jed MacKay stuff. But if you're interested in another character, definitely check it out. It wasn't a bad comic. It was okay, but it has very little to do with the ongoing story. Then we've got X-Men Age of Revelation, The World of Revelation, issue #1. This is an anthology comic book with a few different people. It's got a story by Al Ewing that's kind of telling us what's going on with a Rocco during the time of Age of Revelation. Then we've got a story by Steve Fox. What does that one involve? I'm trying to remember this book. It involves Hulkling and Wiccan. And then we've got a story by Ryan North. The Ryan North story is about what? Something else. I'm sorry. Okay. That one is about Franklin Richards in this world. Okay. So Fantastic Four, what's going on with them? It's all right. It's decent. If you just want to like feel or see more of the world of Age of Revelation, like filled out, that's what this one's going to be. It's kind of like the X universe and the Age of Apocalypse. You want to think about that, but all together. So Age of Revelation, if you're following it, I would say Amazing X-Men is essential. Nothing else is. If you want to follow the book narratively, just read Amazing X-Men and you're going to be fine for this week, I would say. Then we got The Amazing Spider-Man Torn, issue #1. This is a new miniseries written by J. Michael Straczynski with artwork by Pere Perez. It's all right. It's set in Peter's early days. It's set actually in like the Spider-Man Blue era, if you want to call it that, where Peter's trying to get hooked up with Mary Jane, but he's actually into Gwen Stacy, who is Harry's girlfriend, and all that kind of stuff's going on. There is an artifact that gets stolen. He's trying to stop it from being stolen. That artifact turns somebody into a villain. So it's the first appearance of a new Spidey villain created by J. Michael Straczynski. The book itself was just kind of all right. It's okay. Straczynski these days leans too much into humor. And Spider-Man is meant to be a funny character, but it's not meant to be necessarily a funny book, if that makes sense. And this book, I feel like J. Michael Straczynski's been leaning too hard into humor, and it hasn't quite been working. All right, then we got Marvel Black, White, and Blood and Guts, issue number 1. It's a new anthology book, simply here for Halloween. 3 stories here. A Blade story by Al Ewing and Kev Walker. A Blade story by G. Willow Wilson and Dev Promanik. And another story by Chris Condon and Claire Rowe. The first story by Kev Walker and Al Ewing. It's a Blade story. It's okay. It's generic. It's basic. And it's not really worth anything. The final story involves a kid trying to find Tony Stark's haunted armor and put it on. And it's interesting and it's cool. But the second story, which is the G. Willow Wilson Dev Promanik story, it's a Blade story. There's 2 Blade stories in here. That story's freaking awesome. Artwork is amazing. The use of the color, the use of the format, the use of the page space, absolutely fire. Is that worth the price of admission alone? $6 for one 10-page story? No, not at all. Not at all. However, that one story is pretty cool. Then we got the Return to Planet Hulk issue number 1. It's just a one-shot comic by Greg Pak, Carlo Pagulian. This is just, wait, what is it? I guess the 20th anniversary of Planet Hulk. So this is Marvel bringing the team back together to do a little short story that's placed within the timeline of Planet Hulk, but of no consequence. Nothing major happens. Nothing you really need to know. If you love Planet Hulk, I think you can skip this one. But if you're the biggest Hulk fan, definitely check it out. But it's just kind of okay. By the way, I just noticed we hit over 150 live views. That might be the first time we've ever hit over 150 live at one moment. So that's pretty cool. If anybody wants to super chat, that would be even better. Okay. Also from Marvel, we have Imperial War, Imperial Guardians, issue number 1, a one-shot tied into the Imperial event that Hickman's doing to kind of recontextualize and re-energize the Marvel Cosmic Universe. I've read the final issue of Imperial, and I like what it does and what it sets up. Imperial War, Imperial Gardens is just kind of okay. It sets up a lot for the ending, so it does feel kind of essential. If you're following Imperial, I would recommend reading this. It will make issue number 4 flow a lot better. And there's something that happens, a big thing, some big things that happen in Imperial issue number 4 that are set up here. So I would definitely recommend that. Now I look and we're at 167. Can we get to 200 people watching live? That would be dope. Then we got Strange Tales issue number 1. This is a new story. It's basically a Scarlet Witch story. Nico or Nika, whatever her name is, from the Runaways, the magical superhero in the Marvel Universe. She is in trouble. She goes to get help from the Scarlet Witch. It's all right. Art's decent. Story's kind of whack. Doesn't really do much. There's a lot of rumors about the future of the Scarlet Witch in the Marvel Universe right now. I feel like books like this are just more setups for that. But all in all, this just didn't do much for me. Then we got Marvel Knights, The World to Come, The Punisher, issue number 1. Jimmy Palmiotti back writing The Punisher, and we got Dan Panosian on the artwork. Y'all, you know we got Dan Panosian on the artwork. You know this book is freaking awesome. The art in this book is great. The story is great too. So right now, Marvel Knights is celebrating an anniversary of sorts. I guess they're celebrating 25th anniversary, maybe near 30 or something like that. So Marvel has decided to let the original creators of the Marvel Knights universe come back and do some stuff, including Joe Quesada and Christopher Priest on Marvel Knights, The World to Come, which is kind of like a coda to the Black Panther book from that era. And here we got Jimmy Palmiotti and Dan Panosian on The Punisher. This is The Punisher in the future. The artwork is great. The story is solid. This might be the best Marvel comic I read this week. I thought it was great. If you're a Punisher fan, check it out. If you're a Marvel Knights fan, check it out. Great cover, great artwork from Dan Panosian, and a really, really solid story and an interesting take on the future of Frank Castle. Then we got Marvel Knights, The World to Come, issue number 3. This book is delayed, probably because of Joe Quesada, but Joe Quesada is here. He's done all the artwork, and I love it. And Christopher Priest is writing it. It is a coda of sorts to Priest's work on Black Panther. There is, in the future, a new Black Panther crowned. He's a white dude. How could this be? You get all of the revelations in issue number 2 and here in issue number 3. I like this book. I think Christopher Priest's run on Black Panther is one of Marvel's best books from 1998 and onwards. And this is a great coda, like I said, of that. All right, then we got Spider-Man and Wolverine, issue number 6. It's all right. It's written by Mark Guggenheim with artwork by Gerardo Sandoval. This book works for me, in particular when Kari Andrews is doing the book, doing the artwork. The Sandoval issues don't quite work for me. This issue was okay, though. It's a self-contained single issue story to kind of be a coda of sorts, I guess, for the first arc. Spider-Man thought that Wolverine was involved in killing his parents. They've come to terms over that. And of course, now we're just keeping this series alive for some reason. It's got good artwork. It's got a dynamic energy to it. And the story's okay. It's okay, but it's starting like it was Andrew's work on this book that really was selling me on it. So we'll see what happens. Then we got Spider-Man 94, issue number 2, written by J.M. De Mateus with artwork by Jim Toh. This is continuing the story of the animated series from Fox Kids in the 90s. It introduces Moreland as well as Kane into the continuity of that 90s Spider-Man show. And it does a great job of following it up, being as melodramatic as that show has been and could be, and also at the same time being fresh. This feels like a really solid, interesting Spider-Man book, even without its attachment to the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s. But if you're a fan of that, definitely check this out because it directly follows it up, and I like the book. Then we've got Ultimate Black Panther here with issue number 21. Y'all, this book is freaking awesome. I love Ultimate Black Panther. It has definitely slid under the radar as one of the absolute best Ultimate books out there. We know now that they were all kind of set to be 2-year arcs. This is issue number 21, so there's only 3 more issues left, but Brian Hill has been doing a great job of making a familiar concept feel familiar, but then also taking it to very interesting territory. Over at Image, we got Transformers issue number 25, the beginning of the Robert Kirkman, Dan Mora era. That's right. Daniel Warren Johnson is done with Transformers now. He's still going to be doing some cover work and shit like that, and that's cool. But Robert Kirkman has taken over the book, and the art is now done by Dan Mora. What's cool about this book is the very first thing we get is some Jorge Corona artwork to basically be an epilogue to the Daniel Warren Johnson's era. And then right after that, we go directly into Dan Mora artwork. There is a little bit of a jump because Jorge Corona, Daniel Warren Johnson had a lot of grit and texture to their artwork. Dan Mora has texture, but it's still very clean, but the energy is still there. Do not be sad. Transformers still rocks. It's absolutely amazing. Super fun, super cool. I enjoyed it. Then we got G.I. Joe Real American Hero issue 321, celebrating 300 issues since the monumental silent issue that was G.I. Joe number 21. I love that issue. And here we got Snake Eyes in another silent issue with another Snake Eyes. I just started reading Real American Hero last month. I'm confused about who this other Snake Eyes character is, but it didn't matter. This was just a really great comic book. It's, like I said, a silent issue. I guess all comics are silent, but it's a nice throwback to that silent issue of G.I. Joe, issue number 21, which to me is a monumental issue. It kind of plays around with the structure of that and replicates it and inverts it in certain very interesting ways. Really cool, solid stuff, and they're kicking off a new arc in the next issue. And I'm on board now with the Real American Hero. All right, we also got the Death to Pachuco issue number 1. This one did not work for me, art-wise or story-wise. It's about, I guess it's about a Mexican-American detective or private eye trying to figure out the death. Like, it's dealing with the racism, especially against Mexicans in the 90s, in the like 1820 or 1930 or 1920s, 1930s, something like that. it just, I don't know. It tries to deal with some heavy themes, but it doesn't quite work for me. It felt kind of boring and kind of wrapped up too much in and of itself. Then we got the Sacrificers here with issue number 16. It's been a while since we've had an issue of the Sacrificers, and holy shit, I read this and I was like, how is this not the last issue of the Sacrificers? Some big time amazing shit happens here. Max Fiumara is back on the artwork. The artwork is absolutely fire. It's Pigeon versus the Sun God. You got Saluna involved as well. This book has been amazing. The artwork has been intense. The story has been incredible. And the Sacrificers is one of the best books out there. Seriously, it's one of the best books out there. I need to hear more people talk about this book. And there's more to come. Seriously, when you read this book, you're going to be like, how is this not the final issue of this series? But it's not. And there's a reason why. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but the Sacrificers, Rick Remender, Max Fiumara, Dave McCaig, absolutely amazing. All right, then we got Everything Dead and Dying, issue number 2. The basic premise of this book, it's a zombie apocalypse, right? There's a man who has a husband. He has a kid they adopted together. He doesn't want to let go of his family, but they become zombies. So he's living in his house for a while with his dead husband and his dead kid, but he's kind of keeping him alive, kind of like the governor in Walking Dead. And then what happens when somebody finds him and realizes what's going on? Really interesting stuff. I liked the first issue. I loved the second issue even better. Written by Tate Bromball, who's killing it on books right now with Batgirl and what's the Frankenstein book? The Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos. Yeah. And then Jacob Phillips on the artwork. Jacob Phillips' artwork is amazing. The story is great. Issue number 2, dive deep into it, and I really appreciated it for that. Then we got The Unchosen here with issue number 4, written and illustrated by David Marquez. This is the end of the first book of The Unchosen. So The Unchosen does a great job of setting up his premise. It's a little Harry Potter, a little Hogwarts. This is a world where magic is real and magic is entangled or entwined with speech, with speaking, with words, with language, right? Which kind of makes sense, right? So there are certain people who have a gift to use the word to change reality. Our main character is one of those people. She thinks her parents are dead. She's taken to this school to teach her how to use that word. Now she's kidnapped in the previous issue by the villains of this world. Turns out maybe the villains are actually the school who initially was trying to train her. That continues to get blown up here. A lot of revelations in the 4th issue and a lot of setup for what's to come. Artwork is great. Story is solid. I'm having a lot of fun with The Unchosen, and I think that's another undersung, underappreciated book. All right, from Dynamite, we have Harley Quinn, Elvira, issue number 1, written by Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor, with artwork by Amanda Connor and Juan Samu. First of all, Amanda Connor does the artwork in the first 3 issues. I had Amanda and Jimmy, the power couple of companies. Of comics. There's 2 power couples in comics I can think of: Wheezy and Walt, Jimmy and Amanda, and they are killing it here. If you're a fan of their Harley Quinn work, it continues that entire vibe, but they also really nail the character and world of Elvira. So Harley Quinn is trying to put on the most badass Halloween party in Brooklyn. And the way she's going to do that is to get Elvira to host it. Elvira's just recently been fired from her job. She needs a new gig. She meets Harley Quinn. Chaos ensues. This book is fun. It's stupid. It's silly. And it's badass. This book was awesome. Then we got Captain Planet issue number 6. Sorry, that book fell off the table. I don't want to miss that on the recap. Captain Planet issue number 6, the finale of the first season of Captain Planet. David Pepose has been wanting to write Captain Planet for years and years. He told me this. He told a lot of people this. Then, thankfully, Nick Barucci was able to make that dream come true over at Dynamite Entertainment. And in 6 issues, David Pepose has not disappointed at all. This is a great reinterpretation, reimagining and recontextualization of Captain Planet for the modern era. Sadly, we're still dealing with some of the same environmental ramifications from the early 90s. We're also dealing with a lot more. David is able to take everything that made this book work in the 90s, strengthen those concepts, apply it to today specifically, and make one of the best team superhero comics out there. Captain Planet rocks, and I'm waiting to hear news for season 2. So let's go. Then we got Stitch issue number 2. Why am I reading this book? I'm reading Stitch for one reason. The reason why I'm reading this book is because the writers of this book, James III and Connor Ratliff, they joined me on my channel. James for the second time, Connor for the first time. They're both comedians. They're both super cool people. I really enjoy their work. Connor's the guy who does the George Lucas podcast or whatever, where he pretends to be George Lucas. And James III was part of, what's the show from Netflix and Comedy Central? Astronomy Club. They're super funny guys, and just having conversation with them made me want to read their work. I love Lilo and Stitch. I don't necessarily want to read the Stitch book, but it's fun, right? So the main villain of the Stitch universe is trying to prove that he's a villain. What's his name? Jumba or something like that? He's trying to prove himself to be a villain because he needs that villain dental plan. And in this one, he creates a machine that will switch your bodies with someone else. And so Stitch starts switching all over the place. It's just silly, good-natured fun. This is a comic book you can read with your kids. I don't have kids. I tried reading it with my cats. They couldn't give a shit. However, Connor and James, two super cool dudes. They deserve your support. That's really cool stuff. If you got kids that like Lilo and Stitch, definitely check that out. Then we got Thundercats, Powerpuff Girls, issue number 4. Paulina Ganichow and Coleman Ingle on the artwork. Book is cute, stupid, fun. Seriously, Paulina and Coleman know exactly what they're doing with this book. It's not taking itself seriously. It's the Powerpuff Girls meeting the Thundercats. It's got humor. It's got charm. It's got wit. It's got cleverness. And I love it. It's really great. And you know what? I'm giving it the smell of the week because it smells like charm, wit, humor, and cleverness. So there you go. All right, from Boom Studios, we got Mary Sue, issue number 1. This one is written by Megan Fitzmartin, who I believe is the writer who got the Red Hood book canceled. So take with that what you want. We got Lisa Sturley on the artwork. Artwork's fine. I love Lisa's artwork. I don't really like the story. It's all right. It's called Mary Sue. So it's about this woman, this young lady who is writing fan fiction for some kind of vampire TV show that she watches with her internet friends. Her mom, who is super religious, forbids her to watch it. She watches the show. She writes fan fiction. She's into it. She's bullied at school. And then one of the main characters of the show comes to life and becomes her real best friend because of her fan fiction. It's all right. It didn't really work for me. It was kind of boring. Just all right. I don't know. It was okay. Then we got Marion Heretic, issue number 1 from Boom Studios. This is written by Teenie Howard with incredible artwork from Joe Jarrow. The artwork in this book is insane. And the concept seems like something that I would be into, right? So it's about a sect of Catholic nuns who fight and kill witches. And there's a lot more nuance to the story, but it's a bit heavy-handed. And like a lot of Teenie Howard stuff I read, it's just too much built up into theme first and less on character and plot first. And I just don't like that. And this book just didn't work for me. Had great kinetic artwork, but to me was even a little bit more on the nose than Mary Sue was. All right. Also from Boom Studios, we got the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Ninja Rangers, issue number 2, aka VR Troopers, issue number 2, flip book. This is a facsimile to the original 90s stuff from VR Troopers and the Ninja Rangers. I'm a sucker for that, so I picked it up. All right, from Dark Horse Comics, we got Red Book, issue number 1. So you know James Tynan's Blue Book with Michael Avon Oeming on the artwork. This is that exact same book. Blue Book was in an unsolved mysteries type way, right? In an unsolved mysteries type way. Blue Book was telling us about the UFO and paranormal ideas from the American Blue Book, Project Blue Book perspective. Red Book is the same idea and concept, but from the Soviets' perspective. So in here, we're getting Soviet paranormal UFO type events. And I love it. A few of these stories I was familiar with. Some of them I was not. And I love this shit. You know me. I love the paranormal. I love aliens. I love the Teen Dog Shades type stuff. And this one, it worked. It 100% worked for me. I liked it. If you liked Blue Book, no reason why you're not going to like Red Book. Then we got The Guy in the Chair, issue number 1. This book was all right. It's from Dark Horse. It's in issue number 1. It's about this organization that they do missions of like espionage and shit like that, right? And for each field agent, there is somebody who is the guy in the chair, who is their oracle, who is the person in their ear, giving them information, where to go, what to do. Oh, you got a blockade up here, do this, whatever. This is about a dude who is the guy in the chair. He kind of falls in love with the field agent that he represents. And then some shit happens crazy on a mission with her. It gets tied up together. It's all right. It's not super strong. And I don't think it's really going to hook a lot of people in. All right. Then we got The Masterminds here with issue number 2. Zach Kaplan doing a phenomenal job here. Stephen Thompson on the artwork. This is about a dude who's trying to develop games. Turns out there's this secret organization who is wanting maybe him to join them, and he has to go along these real life games to see if he's worthy of joining this organization of the Masterminds. The first issue was really cool, great setup. Issue number 2 is not going to do much for you unless you were into issue number 1. But if you were into issue number 1, like I was, you're going to be into issue number 2, and you're going to be very excited for issue number 3. All right, from Massive, aka Devil's Due Publishing, we've got The Disavowed, issue number 1. This is a sleeper hit of the week. I had a lot of fun with this book. It's written by Josh Blaylock with artwork by Pop Mon. I think they did work on G.I. Joe back in the Devil's Due publishing days. And this is, so it's Massive because Massive's doing a lot of like indie, with the collapse of Diamond. Massive is sticking their nose out there, sticking their neck out there, I guess I should say, for some of the smaller publishers so they can have distribution. Devil's Due is one of them. Disavowed, G.I. Joe is real, and it really did happen in 1984, and this is set in the modern day, and it's about Duke's son finding out the secret history of his father and how he can join the effort in the new G.I. Joe 2025. It's like G.I. Joe G2. I loved it. It is so unabashedly a G.I. Joe analog, right? Like it's 100% G.I. Joe and Cobra, but they do something different with it, do something interesting. I had a lot of fun with this book. I did enjoy it. So the final mission of G.I. Joe, which I think they call them the United Five here, but their final mission against Cobra or whatever the hell they want to call it here, it goes wrong. Dude's dad dies. One day he finds his dad's old gun. It shoots lasers. That sends him on this journey to figure out who was his dad, what was this organization that he was a part of it, how can we get involved. I liked that book. I thought it was cool. Then we have Temporal, issue number 1 from Mad Cave Studios. This is written by Stephanie Williams with artwork by Asia Fulmore. It's okay. It's about a couple, a man and a woman, who are very nostalgic. And this is set in the future. And apparently there's a lot of nostalgia for past things like VCRs, Blu-ray players, Rubik's Cubes, stuff like this. There's an organization that sends people back in time to go on special missions to retrieve certain past artifacts. This woman and her husband used to be agents who went back in time. Well, her daughter wants a certain Christmas or birthday present. She decides, you know what? Why not get back into the game and go back in time and get this present for her, this video game or whatever? It's all right. It was entertaining enough. It wasn't necessarily super boring, but it didn't do enough to really hook me into issue number 2. The way it was structured left me wanting a whole lot more, and not in a good way. From Bad Idea, we've got Cul-de-sac here with issue number 3. Love this book. It's about the kids of some vampires. They all live in a cul-de-sac in the suburbs. The These vampire hunters go out, kill all their parents on the day that the kids are about to be told that they're vampires. So the kids just find out they're vampires, and then all their parents die. Now they're being hunted down by these vampire hunters. Turns out the vampire hunters have their own issues. Turns out maybe some vampires hired them to kill these other vampires. What? Really cool stuff, but it is the artwork that soars. Jonathan Wayshack's artwork is amazing. Mike Carey's story is solid, but the artwork is what sells this book and makes it top notch for 3 issues solid. Then we got the Deluge issue number 1 from Ignition Press. They are really trying to stand out right now. They've done some decent stuff. I thought Voyeur issue number 1 was good. The Deluge issue number 1 was just kind of okay. Think of it like a horror environmental catastrophe version of Orange is the New Black. It's set in a women's prison, and the rain starts and it doesn't stop and everything starts flooding. And that's basically the premise, and that's basically where the book ends up. It doesn't really do much character-wise or even story-wise or even just execution-wise to like pull me in. I feel like it's a rather average book and actually kind of below average. I didn't really dig on it that much. Then from Titan, oh, another book just fell. From Titan Comics, we have Conan the Barbarian, issue number 25. Jim Zub needs to write Conan for the rest of his career. Nobody else ever needs to write this character without Jim Zub's approval. Jim Zub knows what he's doing. If you've been reading the previous 24 issues of Conan the Barbarian, you know that that's what he's doing. We're here celebrating 25 issues of Titan Comics Conan. It's got fully painted artwork here, by the way, from, is it Alex Horley? Yes, Alex Horley, who does this beautiful wraparound painted cover, does full painted interiors on this book, and it is absolutely freaking gorgeous. This is set during the King Conan era. He is king. There is a mysterious stranger who shows up to his castle. I wanted to show you those pages, but they got titties on them. So a mysterious stranger shows up, and through meeting this mysterious stranger, Conan basically relives his entire existence, and we get to relive the history of Conan altogether. This was a great love letter to Conan and everything that came before Jim Zub took over this book and everything that may potentially happen after. That being said, Jim Zub is killing it on Conan. This might be one of the best issues yet. Really solid stuff. All right. Also from Titan, we have Heatseeker Exposed, issue number 3, part of the Gun Honey universe. Lots of nudity, lots of action, lots of silliness, lots of buffoonery. I'm trying to find a page I can show you. They all have boobs on them. That one does. This page doesn't have boobs. So there you go. All right. I'm late into the game on Gun Honey and onto Heatseeker, which is kind of like a Gun Honey type book. It's set in the world. Not being firmly in this world, I start getting confused in issue number 3, but I enjoyed issue number 1 and 2 enough. And I enjoyed 3 enough. I definitely want to go back and reread all the Heatseekers and Gun Honeys to lead up to this moment. It's just silly, entertaining. It's just tits and ass and guns and blood. That's what it is. That's what it is. All right, from Fantagraphics, we have Uncle Scrooge, issue number 1, the Flint Heart Glomgold's Sinister Secret. All right. Uncle Scrooge. So we got a DuckTales book at Dynamite. That's solid. We got the Uncle Scrooge book at Marvel. It's a Marvelized version of Uncle Scrooge. But if the Marvel Uncle Scrooge is a little bit too Marvelized for you, this book is perfect. It's produced by Fantagraphics, so it's absolutely excellent in quality as far as the paper, as far as the content goes. This is reprinting for the first time in English, 2017 Uncle Scrooge 3-part stories. 3-part story. This is part 1. If you're more involved or more into like the Carl Barks, Don Rosa type stuff, this is more of the Uncle Scrooge book for you. Oh, it smells great too. This was really fun. I liked it. The Uncle Scrooge book that Marvel's doing is a little bit too Marvel for me. This one, though, is like classic Duck Comics to perfection. And I had a lot of fun with that. All right, from IDW, we got Event Horizon Dark Descent, issue number 2. A sequel, I guess, to Event Horizon. I'm very confused. Is this a retelling of Event Horizon or is it a sequel? I'm lost. I'm lost. I read issue number 1. I was lost. I read issue number 2. I'm even more lost. In fact, I almost didn't read issue number 2, but I did read it. Why? Because that is a Jeffrey Allen Love cover. And you know what? I may not appreciate this book. I may not be into it. I love the movie Event Horizon, but I'm not digging the comic. However, I'm fucking digging that cover. Cover of the week to Jeffrey Allen Love for Event Horizon Dark Descent issue number 2. Also from IDW, we have Godzilla issue number 3, part of the Kaisei or Kaisei era. I am loving what they're doing with Godzilla in this Kaisei era. Escape from the Dead Zone is amazing. Starship Godzilla's cool. This is the weakest of the books, but I love the artwork. It's got an energy to it. I love the concept. It's about a team of people imbued with different superpowers, some based on kaiju lore. Like, there's interesting things being played with here. I like the other 2 books a little bit more, but Godzilla, let me just tell you, this Kaisei era, some of the most innovative, cleverly reinterpreted mythology of Godzilla I have ever read. So really cool stuff there. Then we got TMNT Journeys, issue number 3, reprinting the early 2000s Mirage TMNT book that's never been available in reprint. So that's cool. Great textured artwork here. I haven't read this yet because this is a reprint, but it's a reprint that we need and desperately deserve. All right. That's all the books I read. One graphic novel I want to point out, or trade paperback, is Transformers Compendium Volume 2. This takes us from Transformers 47 through 80, all the original series from Marvel, all of Transformers Generation 2, 1 through 12, and Transformers the movie 1 through 3. Reprinted on beautiful newsprint cover or newsprint stock. Smells amazing. It gets the colors across the way they're supposed to be. Y'all, last week we had G.I. Joe Compendium Volume 2. Now we got Transformers Compendium. That's freaking awesome. All right. I'm going to recap the books. Boom, 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 boom. And we're going to give you my You Digs rating. We did run longer than I anticipated, so we are going to stay live for a little bit. We're going to take a quick break after this, but we're only going to do a little bit of a Q&A. So if you get any questions you want to ask me, let me know. TMNT Journey, that's a reprint. I haven't read it. I have no You Dig rating. So out of 5 possible You Digs, Godzilla gets 3. Event Horizon Dark Descent gets 1.5. Uncle Scrooge gets a 4. Heatseeker Exposed gets a 3. Conan the Barbarian gets 4.5. Deluge gets a 1. Cul-de-sac gets a 4.5. Temporal gets a 2. Disavowed gets a 3.5. I like that book. Masterminds gets a 3.5. The Guy in the Chair gets a 2.5. Red Book gets a 3.5. Marion Heretic gets a 1.5. Mary Sue gets a 2. Thundercats Powerpuff Girls gets 3. Stitch gets a 3.5. Captain Planet gets 4. Harley Quinn Elvira gets a 4.5. The Unchosen gets a 4.5. Everything Dead and Dying gets 4. The Sacrificers gets 5 You Digs. A perfect score from Sacrificers. Death to Pachuco gets a 1.5. G.I. Joe Real American Hero gets a 4. Transformers gets a 4.5. Ultimate Black Panther gets a 4. Spider-Man Wolverine gets a 2.5. Spider-Man 94 gets a 3. The World to Come gets a 4. World to Come Punisher Marvel Knights gets a 4.5. Strange Tales gets a 2. Imperial War Imperial Gardens gets a 2.5. Return to Planet Hulk gets a 2.5. Marvel Black White Blood and Guts gets a 2. Amazing Spider-Man Torn gets a 3. World of Revelation gets a 3. Laura Kinney Sabretooth gets a 2.5. Long Shots gets a 1.5. Binary gets a 3.5. Amazing X-Men gets a 4. Court gets a 4. Green Lantern Corps gets a 3. Aquaman gets a 2.5. Action Comics gets a 2.5. Superman Kryptonite Spectrum gets a 4. Batman Long Halloween, Last Halloween gets a 4. Gotham by Gaslight, League for Justice gets a 4. Batman Dark Patterns gets 5, another perfect score. Absolute Batman gets a 4.69, dudes. DCKO gets a 4.5. And the High Strangeness gets 5, you digs. The pick of the week right there. We're taking a quick break. We're going to continue live. We're going to open up this DCKO blind bag. We're going to answer some questions. We'll be right back here after we pause for station identification. All right, we'll do a little bit of a Q&A. I do want to point out, I feel really bad because right now Fable's about to be going live for his Horror Fest show. They're going to be talking about Pitch Black that starts over at One Collection Down in just a few minutes. So let's see if we can just run through some of the comments. 9 years of the weekly comic book review, y'all. That deserves a shot. So let's open up some tequila. Still got a little bit of a bottle there. Let's pour a shot of tequila. If anybody's got a drink, you can take one with me. Here's to you for allowing this show to exist. Also, the Yankees are playing. I don't know what's going on. But don't tell me, please. Don't tell me. All right. Let's take a look at the comments. Eddie is here saying, hell yeah, we got let's go, Stack Comics Week. Yeah, there's a lot of comics. Rogue Collecting is in the house. What's up, my man? Big Herm is in the house. Let's go, Yankees. Contemporary Comics is in the house. Neighborhood Merc. Round 2. Yeah, I know, man. Let's go. Brett Hess, man. How you doing, Brett? Brett's a great artist. Y'all need to check him out. Geez, you would have think he would have had this figured out after all these years. Yeah, I know, right? Just opened up a beer to celebrate. There's something different that's going on with the StreamYard right now, which is fucking me up because I haven't been live on Sunday in a few weeks and everything's changed. And now it's got me worried about the future of Rockin' Robbie Live. We'll see what happens. Victor Von Doom is in the house. Joseph, what's up, my man? Joseph says KO was dope. I loved it. Brooklyn man is in the house. What's up, my man? Dude, I want to spend more time in your area. I guess if you're from Brooklyn or if you're in Brooklyn, I want to spend more time in Brooklyn next time I go up to New York. I heard it was 3i Atlas that took out Robbie's sound. Yeah. What's up, Dark Fizzo? How you doing? What's up, Festus Sauce? No, I wasn't pooping. I'm not shy about my pooping. What's up, D? What's up, CB? What's up, really? You have variants of Rockin' Robbie? I love that. Big Herm says, I miss old school Robbie. Huh, shit. Me too. Eric coming in here saying happy 9th anniversary. Appreciate that. Brett saying Robbie is always our pick of the week. I like that. D saying nice montage. Well, thank you so much. Eddie says Radio Apocalypse needs to finish. Never going to happen. I've talked to the man responsible. I don't think it's ever going to happen. Tom says, went from a boy to a man. And we're trying to make our way back to boy again. Brooklyn loved Radio Spaceman. So did I. I want more of that. Dallas is in the house. First time watching you live. Fuck yeah. Well, nice. Thank you for being here. Robbie was a child when this started. I wasn't. I was like 34 years old. D is excited for Superman Kryptonite Spectrum and Absolute Batman this week. Hell yeah. Really says, this is the evolution of Rockin' Robbie. This is the AI version. Cliff says, there's the love of my life. What's up, Cliff? Sexy motherfucker. How you doing? Brandon is here saying, I watch your show every week and I always read the cool ones. Sometimes because of you. You rock all day and all day. You rock all day and day. Thank you. Trade Paper Dad says, Station, go Dodgers. You know what? I'll allow that. That's fine. We're celebrating tonight. Raul Givers here. Got to read KO today. I know what I thought of it, but definitely interested to hear what you thought. Well, there you go. D says, High Strangeness. Yeah, High Strangeness. Oni Press, pick of the week. Dave Chisholm is a great artist. Spectrum was cool. Plague House was as well. Brandon Winter says, I am such a big Secret fan. I never see it live. This is so cool and fun, honestly. Well, Brandon, thank you for being here. Really says Lobo has a good chance of winning the KO tournament. Yeah, I agree. Brandon bought 2 blind bags. Can't lie. I also bought the DWJ version, of course. Anthony says, seems like a lot of good comics this week. There's some good ones. Victor Von Doom says, really hope X-Men is good this week. It's all right. Brandon says, Hayden Sherman rocks. Kevin says, this week, I can't imagine X-Men being good for at least 3 months. Well, we'll see. I'm going to let you know week to week. No lies. Stop pulling on the rock sword, Don. You crack me up. Don, when you come into the shop, when I'm in the office, just stop in and say what's up, man. I love talking to you. Lewis says, this is the only comic review show podcast outlet that exists. Thanks for all that you do, man. There are others, but I appreciate your support. Big Herm says, I'm torn and trying to get ASMN torn this week. Oh, dude, you know you're going to buy Amazing Spider-Man torn. Just don't even worry about it, Herm. You know you're going to buy it. Should you get it? You're going to buy it, Herm. Herm, you're going to buy it. I don't even have to tell you if you should. What did I give it? Like a 3? I give it a 3 out of 5. It's okay. It's like average. But you're going to buy it, bro. Brandon says, you're the real OG. Much love over the real deal. Recommendations and the whole stream agrees. Well, thank you so much. Lewis says, the Punisher doesn't suck. What the fuck? Comics and 6 says, go, Robbie, go. Great job, my dude. Well, thank you so much. Larry Hama should illustrate more for sure. He's getting up there in age, Lewis, so I don't know. Sidekick Comics with the super chat. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. $10. I enjoy your reviews every week. Rock on. You know what? I don't have it here anymore. Hold on. Let me see if I can download something that I need real quick. Oh, did I? Please do not delete it. Oh, no. I think I deleted the file I need. Shit. What? This is entertaining. I'm interrupting Fable's show to do this. This is great. You know what? We'll do it a cappella. Fuck it. All right, moving on. Sidekick, you got a Hellboy song coming up. 62 Lefty Blues saying Mike and Laura Alritari and Rachel Dotson. Yep, 2 other power couples in comics. Name changes, says, damn, it's a live show. Yes, it is. Dr. Doom's fan club is here. What's up? Excited about this one? Hell yeah. 62 says Red Book will have stories from Russia and China. Yes, it will. Hey, Blood Splatter Chatter showed up. What's up, my man? Good to see you here. It's about a man and a woman. Yeah, I love this title. Wayshack dominates this book. Talking about cul-de-sac. Absolutely good. Hey, there's Fable. What's up, man? Station. Happy to see you here. Sorry I'm still going. We're about to wrap up. Event Horizon is a weird movie to choose to do a comic book for. I agree, Don. They just announced at IDW they're doing more books in the horror universes. They're doing Quiet Place books, and they're doing Smile books, which is interesting. P says, geez, we didn't have that compendium at my shop. Need to order now. Yeah, you need to order it. Well, thank you, Brandon. Dante, what's up? I thought Disavowed was good. It's G.I. Joe with cussing. And the headshot was awesome. I agree. Ariaga's in the house. What's up? Brooklyn Man with Super Chat saying, when you move into NYC? When I can afford it. When I can afford it. I'm taking a gin and ginger shot right now. Hell yeah, Brandon. What's up, Gilby? Yeah, One Piece is very popular at my shop. Do you think Marvel is cooked after the Ultimate Universe ends in a few months? No, Marvel will never be cooked. Marvel is still one of the best-selling comic book publishers out there, regardless of the quality of their books. So I would say no. They're not cooked. Plus, Ultimates have worked, so they're going to continue that shit. I guarantee you. Rooster says, I got to respectively disagree about the quality of Event Horizon. Not dope, but better than average, though. The art was sick, though. Okay. All right. I can dig that. I am going to sing Sidekick. I was trying to find... I'm on StreamYard right now because I had those audio issues. Fable says, Conan is so good. So I can't play the music, but I will sing you the Hellboy song, a cappella. Any guesses who Darkseid is? Or who the new Darkseid's going to be? I don't know. I don't know right now. I don't have a guess. Didn't get any alert of this live. Yeah, YouTube does that shit, man. It's unfortunate. Pete wanted to know. I think it was Pete. Where's the Sunday show been? I've been dealing with some personal stuff. And so I took some time off. We're going to take some more time off from Rockin' Robbie Live on Sunday night. Expect Rockin' Robbie Live to come back on November 9th. So we still got like a month to go. But I'm taking some time off to get ready and prep for Scarefest, to deal with some things personally. I've been dealing with some medical issues as well. So yeah, we've been taking a little bit of a break. I haven't really talked about it publicly. But we are on a break for Rockin' Robbie Live. But don't worry, it will come back November 9th. That's the plan. Hell yeah. Missed the review, but is DCKO solid? I think it's solid. Speaking of DCKO, let's open up this blind bag. Completely sealed. I've never opened one of these blind bags before. Well, not the new incarnations. I opened up some of the Power Ranger ones back in the day. So let's just rip this bastard open. See what we get. Hey, I got the AEW one. Look at that. It's Lobo. It's hard to get this on air with the lighting. That's pretty freaking cool. It's the Hangman Adam Page AEW variant by Dan Mora. Very cool. I like wrestling. I'm more of a WWE fan, but there you go. That's what I picked up. So AEW variant. Heck yeah. All right. I wanted to go a little bit longer on the Q&A. However, Fable is live right now. Should be live. He's joining Horror Fest for the first time, talking about Pitch Black tonight. So everybody go over to One Collection Down. Joseph says, I don't think my shop ordered any blind bags. Probably good. I definitely would have bought at least one. Yeah, I wish I could have done more of the after talk, Brandon. I really do. All right, so let's wrap this up. This is for Brooklyn. This is for Sidekick. Everybody sing along. More tequila? I got another shot left. Well, I got a half a shot left. I've been holding on to that for a couple weeks. I just realized I didn't take off the that image. All right. Sidekick, Brooklyn, this is for you. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was sent from the earth some long time ago to save it or destroy. Brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon and a nana who had a sex with a demon, but was raised by Professor Broom. Now he fights evil and monsters. Shit! Now he fights with a man who's a fish named Abe. Now he fights with a fire starter named Liz and an ectoplasmic mess named Johan. BPRD, yeah! Thank you so much, Sidekick. Thank you so much, Brooklyn. Thank you all so much for being here for the 9th anniversary of the weekly comic book review. Go check out Horror Fest over at One Collection Down. They talk about Pitch Black, which is not necessarily a horror movie, but you know what? It's Fable's first show in Horror Fest. We're going to allow it. We love you. Guess what? We just finished it. 9 years non-stop of the weekly comic book review. 1 year to go, and we hit the big 10. The big 1-0, y'all. Get ready. If you thought PCPX was obnoxious, just wait. All right. We love you. Station, thank you all so much for the support, the super chats, the super thanks, the watching the videos, liking, sharing, subscribing. Y'all are the absolute best. I love you. Thank you so much. Rockin' Robbie Live comes back November 9th. Catch you next time. Station, pop, pop, boom. Keep on reading. Yeah, that's what we got.
It's Rockin' Robbie Billups, and it's time for Robbie Rants. In fact, it's time for the first episode of the brand new weekly comic book review. All right, gang, that's right. This week's comics, and we start with the pick of the week. The Vision. Generation Gone was really cool, interesting, and very refreshing. This is basically Batman, God of War, or as I like to call him, Wonder Wayne. Dan Slott did this huge, crazy arc taking Peter back and forth, up and down over the last, 10 years? So it's nice to get a fresh voice on the character. New What If, I think this is the final of this current batch of What If books. It's What If Magic has become the Sorcerer Supreme, and this was probably the best one out of all of them. Fantastic work, a great conclusion. You guys just knocked this out of the park. You nailed the ending. You nailed that landing. You totally sold it. I love this book so much. I cannot wait to read it over and over and over for times to come. Now, let's jump over to Marvel. X-Men #1. That's right. It's the dawn of X. It's the show where I read a lot of comic books, and I'll let you know what I thought about them, and we always start with the pick of the week. But before we do that, let's address the elephant in the room. This is going to be the last weekly comic book review for the foreseeable future. I started doing these back in October of 2016. I have not missed a week yet, so it really sucks that I won't be able to do it next week, and that's because Diamond Comics has stopped distributing new print comics to comic shops. Not a lot of comic books today. In fact, no comic books available in print today. Diamond distribution is shut down. Comic shops are closed down for the most part. There are no new comics out, except for online. So I checked out Comixology to see what few offerings there were, and they are very few, but I found some really good ones I want to point out, including the pick of the week. And last week we had Diamond returning. This week we have Marvel Comics returning. So we finally have a proper stack of comic books, and it delivers a very personal, nuanced, tragic, and human tale. Jump over to DC Comics. We got Dark Knight's Death Metal issue #4, shiny foil cover. For me, this was by far the best issue of this. If you're a fan of Rom V, especially Rom V's indie work, I would highly encourage you to check this out. Anand Arcade was the artist along with Rom on the writing on books such as Graffiti's Wall and of course Blue and Green, which was one of my favorite comic book of the last few years. Radio Spaceman Mission to Numa 4 issue #2, the final part of this 2-issue series to introduce the world to this new character, Radio Spaceman from Mike Mignola. In the first issue, they lay all that groundwork. And in the second issue, one of those soldiers has become a cartoonist who is most popular for doing a strip called Junkyard Joe, which is based on this robotic hero that he had from his war experience. It gets a little talky, some talking head moments, but then there are moments where the art just absolutely shines. I can't show you many of those scenes because they happen at the end, and I don't want them to lose the impact when you read this story. I really liked it. I thought the artwork was great. The coloring provides an atmosphere and a mood. And Aditya Bidikar on the lettering, he's just one of the best letterers in the biz and probably will be of all time because he is that freaking impressive and his work is that much a part of the book. Honestly, I've never liked Spider-Man 2099 except for an issue of What The, where they introduced Spider-Ham 2099 or 2099. And probably just because I thought it was really clever that his name is Pigel O'Hara or O'Hara. Yeah, I don't think I like this. I'm not going to keep reading this book. It's kind of got the color palette of, I don't know, something noirish, but it's also very kinetic, dynamic when it needs to be. It is a very solid detective story. It is a Batman Elseworlds type tale, so it's not set in any continuity. It is its own vision of Gotham, of Batman, of Gordon. It introduces a new villain, which is absolutely fascinating to me. The look of this book is absolutely striking. It is masterful. It is just downright masterful. The story is good. The story is solid. The story is very serviceable. But that artwork, oh my goodness, there is nothing like it in shops this week. There hasn't been anything like it in a while. Well, maybe. That's hyperbolic. It's an unsettling book. It's an unnerving book. But it's an enjoyable book. It's an innovative book. It's absolutely fantastic. Ice Cream Man is the best comic book ongoing series, period, and has been for a long time now. And I've been praising this book for so long, and I know a lot of y'all have gotten into this book because of our thoughts here on the channel or other comic book reviewers or just people spreading the word of mouth, and now you are spreading the word of mouth, and the cult of the Ice Cream Man has continued to grow and widen. Doug Ramsey was named the heir of Apocalypse Revelation. This whole book is just basically him struggling with that, talking to Warlock, talking to Bay, having dinner, chit-chatting, so people show up. It wasn't that great. It wasn't that great. I guess it's setting up, I guess Doug and his crew are coming into the pages of Jed McKay's X-Men. I mean, obviously, it literally just happened here in issue number 19. So I guess it's set up for what's to come. It was interesting enough, but for the most part, didn't really do much for me. Thank you guys so much, and please do join us at popculturephilosophers.com for podcast blogs, top 5 lists, and a whole lot more. Like I said, please subscribe, click that thumbs up button. We'll catch you next time. Peace out.